Okay, so yeah, bottom end looks mint. Take a look at her. Looking good. No problems. Pretty clean, obviously, with the E. It's got some funny marks in it now from my shop vac. I vacuumed the coolant out quick. I like to vacuum a little bit out of the water jacket. Look at the nice rust from the junkyard motor. I don't ever clean them out. 1 or 2 coolant flushes after I pop them usually does it for me. Anyway, it looks pretty good. A lot of shit fell on my lifter trays. I'll probably pull the lifter trays out and just hose them out really quick. And then clean the gasket, razor the deck surface, and get everything else going. Let's take a look at the cylinder head. The seat looks kind of shitty. It looks like I can almost see. Let's get a flashlight. Come back. Where's my... All right, ready to get nauseous, kids? See if I can do this. I got my flashlight here. I got my big Larry. Yeah, I can see. See that? It's just like wide open. What, I hope I can get the angle with the camera that I can see with my eye. But, yeah, really, really bad. It doesn't shut. So what about this one? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this one. I need a better flashlight. I have this like bar, this light bar. I can't really get it in the bore. I guess one thing I could do is go from this side. Holy crap, yeah, that's really bad. This one, yeah, I mean, that cylinder has like nothing. Yeah, you can just see the light. Let me see if I can jam you in here. Come along for this ride. All right, let's get all this stuff in place. This is hard to do. Yeah, look at that. See, it doesn't even shut. I think I have the video of this on the engine stand when I did the valve springs. But yeah, obviously if I can catch that with the camera without like really rigging it up really nicely, imagine how bad it is when you look at it with the naked eye. That's terrible. It's probably all pitted on the top. Oh yeah, it looks awful. It's just like a rusty, shitted exhaust valve. They're all like that. They're terrible. I even wrote, see the first one that hissed really bad, I drew a marker line, and then the other ones weren't that great, and then this one was really bad too. So I stopped even marking them because I thought it was only one of them. I think the other cylinder head didn't really have any significant leaks, and that's, you know, one thing we'll address, but I think I'd rather swap both at this point, seeing as that one bank got so badly pitted. Okay, I just quick razored the block. Super boring. I just scrape it with a nice razor to clear all the material off. Nothing special. And this is what I was talking about with the to clean. You just cut a like slice in there, and this is an older head bolt, the longer one. And I just oil it up, and we drive it in there. And what it does is it grabs all the sludge out. Not too bad. I'm going to get some, first I'm going to throw it. We're going to get some magical WD-40 assembly lube. Wherever I put it, there it is. I almost stepped on it. It's laying on the ground right here. Let's make sure these threads are nice and happy. This one was particularly chewy. Yeah, check that out. We'll just, wait for the water to shoot out, whatever we got in there. Back her up a little bit. All sorts of garbage, corrosion. Yucky. Backing it out slings most of the shit everywhere. Yeah, doing nice. Doing nice work. So I have a 3/8 15 short, so I can do this a little bit easier. Like I said, it's funny having this. It's such a capable tool. You want to use it on everything. Because there's like no... Yeah, that one's not too... Come on, WD. This WD can has been the saddest can. I think the first day I brought it home, I dropped it on the thing and busted the shit out of the lid. So it like always falls off. It's you spraying and you're like, nothing's coming out. It's pouring out of the neck that's broken. It's like misaligned a tiny bit. Nice. We'll just chase these guys quick. We'll dust this gasket. Can't even get this guy going. To do this one by hand. By hand we mean try this guy first. Oh, wrong way. I must have had it on. So obviously that one wasn't bad if the Sidewinder could take it in on all out. Go down. See if we can get this guy on down here. It's gonna be tough. This tall bolt is screwing me a little bit, but it's what I got. This one came out nice. No, it didn't actually. We'll get to it later. See if we bust the bolt and everything else. Wrong way again, dude. Actually see like fluid come out the cut line, like it has a little bit of coolant and oil and junk in it. Pushes it right out up to that cut slot. Yep. Muddy water coming up. Usually you do this with an impact gun while it's on your stand when you do your valve springs or whatever else you're screwing with. Nice. And this back one, I guess I'm gonna have to do by hand. There's something chewy in there. That's what, remember I had to take this one out by hand with the swivel and everything. Let's clean the garbage out. Wipe down the block a tiny bit. I already wiped off the head gasket, so dry. Once it's dry, we give it a little Permatex coating. Nothing crazy, just spray it on there a little bit for color. And then make sure everything's clean. Transfer over the dowels. Once the dowels are over, try to drop this all in, and I like to slam at least one bolt down, and then I'll get my torque wrench, set it to like 65. Some people say 71. I've never had a problem with 65. So that's what we're going to do after we answer our phone. Ready? for some copper spray. Put it over here somewhere. I did. It's over here. Suspicions confirmed. This is the good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I actually haven't bought this stuff. I haven't bought this stuff for like 2 years. Simply because everyone keeps sending me it. I'm not complaining. No way am I complaining. I have this one that's not even done yet, and I have another brand new one on the shelf. So yeah, you can see this guy, it isn't brand new. It's the OG gasket, and all I did was wipe off some of the gunk so this sticks. So I like to just replace this gasket material, like the glue or whatever you want to call it. Just like to replace that stuff. Other than that, give it a light little dusty dust, and then slap it on the head, which is pretty clean. And then I usually just spray the damn thing standing up, but I think I'll just hose it on the ground real quick. Show you what I mean with a light coat. Just enough to change the color. We've all seen pictures of the people that overdo it. Mostly with it's like they have hemorrhoid cream and they got a bad itch. That shit is everywhere and glumps. Like, come on. You don't really need to do the top. Nothing's going on up there. If you didn't know. In fact, we used to joke that the top bolts, because people were like putting studs in here, and we're like, you waste your time studding those? Holy shit. Why? Just put the bolts back in. They're like, yeah, it's really difficult. We're like, just put the bolts in. They're like, oh, I'm going to go with recommend. Okay, well, we made a joke that you don't even need them. I mean, look at what the rest of the thing is getting clamped down with. I think it's only for like alignment to make sure the cylinder head's flat up at the top, but on the LTs they only have 2 bolts, so they omitted like 80% of those bolts that we thought didn't matter, and apparently GM knows they don't matter. So that's a little fact for you guys. Even GM knows they're not important. Not you. That's it. That's it. That's how we do it. Nothing crazy. You got a good angle there? Okay. Really, doesn't matter at all. The whole thing is ambidextrous. At least to my knowledge, I have been putting them on in any way, shape, or form. And I haven't really had any head gasket issues ever, so just like reusing them and the bolts. There. She's ready to rock. All we gotta do is slam a beautiful brand new cylinder head on. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look for the one without the coolant thing in it. I think, does this have the plug or did I pull them out? Sorry for my nose, guys. It's okay, it doesn't matter. There is no plug and no temp sensor, so I won't be screwing myself. Check out them bad boys. Whoa! Whoa! And now these were vacuum tested, not just with a light. He actually stuck a vacuum assembly over all of them and vacuum checked them. Jeez. I'm a mess right now. I don't even have allergies. Okay, it's on the dowels. one. Can we get one in here? Man, look how clean these cylinder heads are. Jeez. Cool. Put the center guy in here. Like all sideways. Beautiful. Kinda, sorta. Where's my... Did I have the... Thought I had the short 15 out here. Probably hid it on myself already. Guys, wasn't I using the short 15? What about this? Let's try to throw this across the room. Are you with me? Yeah, we can... Look at that. Good enough for me. Yeah, I like to spin these guys down. Look at the dirt on this bolt. It's filthy. We're swapping them a little bit. We're getting oily ones on the outside. Oh, what a pain. What do we got left? 2? 30 threads. 30 threads. Let's do the same thing. Let's put the oily one on the outside. Put the dry one on the inside. Hopefully we get some trigger warnings. Get flagged on YouTube for inappropriate content. That's good. This one I think I got with the other head. Yeah, so you just zippy them down. I swear I had a short 15 out here. Oh, it's on the freaking Sidewinder, guys. No one told me. I am losing it. See? At least I know I'm losing it. Here we go. That had a sticky spot, but then I gave it a break and what do they call that? Hydraulic? That has a hydraulic effect. If you got fluid or water or oil or whatever in there and it starts to get compacted, it can back up. And then if you just let it sit and let the gas, water, compression escape, this is my impact. I have an impact 3/8 swivel. I just don't have it out here for some reason. I should. Okay. So yeah, they're all snugged about that gun. I mean, most of these will quit on light brap is like 26 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna go set up my torque wrench. Really awesome story here is some absolute legend sent me this in fan mail. I have a 1/2-inch Matco that's huge. This is a 3/8 snap-on. He says he doesn't use. He's like, oh, I don't use it anymore. You can have it. I'm like, whoa. Thanks, dude. Look at that. I can use my impact adapter on that too. You hang out over here. So I'm gonna snug down a few. I don't really do like that. I kind of do, I guess. I like to make sure I'm snugging. I guess people could say, you know, the 30 first to make sure everything's level. Because if everything isn't like level and straight, you're going to try to go right to whatever and have a bad time. Sometimes. Other times you can go right to it. I think I can look and I think I'm hitting like 40 foot-pounds on my first pass here. Hopefully I can get the back one without it being too... See, what's nice is this torque wrench is smaller, way smaller than my 1/2 inch. I got a giant 1/2 inch torque wrench for... Wow, that just fits in there. There is no room to spare to get that on and off. Okay. We'll just take a quick check. I'm at 65. Come on. 65. And we'll go. Pretty tight. You can feel, I think, some people go a little bit more, some people go... Actually, you know who... Man, A21 Bravo, Brian, just did an interesting video where he just tightens them until they snap. And I thought there was a lot to learn on that video. What I feel, you can feel the bolt gets tight, and then it stops, it feels like a, I don't know, if you have a feel for this, you can feel like, okay, it's tight. And more than 65 pounds I feel like is just stretching, which... These, however, have already been used, so I feel like they're already stretched. Does this make any sense? All I'm doing is validating in my head what I'm doing, so I feel better about it. Which, you can do this in everyday life also. Nice. Just validate your decisions with yourself, and you're okay. You don't need a conference call or anything, just tell yourself it's okay. $65 is pretty tight, guys. That's it. That one was starting to feel like, I'm like, I don't really want to go any tighter than this, and then it beeped. See, I didn't use any lube or anything because the bolts, I just ripped them out and they were oily and coolant already as GM's natural, all natural lubricant already applied. Must have not done this one. That's why we check. That's why we do. I do all of them like 3-4 times. Because I figure when you do the whole cylinder head, they wiggle a little bit. They're also used, and I'm also a forgetful maniac. So I just like to do them all a whole bunch of times. Sometimes I'll go across the whole bottom and just make sure the whole bottom's done. Oh. Nice and snug. Nice and snug. I definitely have to find... I keep promising you this, and I will deliver eventually. The video. I'm sure I have video of it leaking. Because that's why you can see I drew the arrow when I did the valve springs, when the block was just sitting on the floor over there. Because I was like, wow, this is just pouring out. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that whole bullshit, but it's more of a learning experience for me. Obviously, if that was you, you make your decision on that. But I was like, I guarantee it's not going to affect my power. And I made good power, but I think this is also why I thought my subframe was wiggling a lot. This is probably why my my dyno chart is a little bit wiggly. It's probably the slight miss of the combustion leaking past that valve. I took pictures of it on my phone. It's hard to see on my phone and with the camera, but with your naked eye, you're like, it looks like the solar or lunar eclipse or whatever, where you can see the, I think it's the lunar eclipse, where the sun is behind the moon. So you see the moon, which is the valve, and then just all of this leak, a 360-degree leak. So we'll call it the sloppy eclipse, the cylinder head eclipse, because that's what's going on. All right, those are tightened, satisfactory. Let's get mini extension and Brappy McBrapperson all fired up. He's rammy, he's ready to go. Let's put him on number 2. That's not tight enough. There we go. Give it an angry one at the end. Nice and pissed off. We're gonna take these cylinder heads to my buddy's shop, Ryan Gary at Area 1320. It's a Subaru shop. They specialize in Subarus. He does a lot of other things, of course. He likes to mention. He has the vacuum tester. He cut these heads, he baked them, cleaned them, hot tanked them, did all sorts of crazy shit. That's why they're just insanely clean. And we're going to vacuum test my cylinder heads in comparison to these. So we can have this was on and this is what's on now. I bet the other ones like barely hold any vacuum at all. So we have the cylinder heads on, one cylinder head, and almost what I'd like to do is just do a compression test. I have to put my valves on, and I would love to just crank it, do a static compression as is. I gotta take my belt off so it doesn't like rip itself in half. I gotta remember to do that. Let's just pull the belt right now off the crank. So the belt can't do anything funny. Belt's gone. What we gotta do is pull the spark plugs out of the other side. I put them back in, I don't know why. And then it would be neat to see compression. I'll put the valve train, rockers, push rods in, and we'll hit it and see what our compression is just with the cylinder head swap and nothing else. I bet it's a little bit better than 35 or 40, what my original was. So I'm going to take a quick break and check all the stuff on my phone and probably drink some coffee and be right back. Okay, I forgot to start recording. Through my check out the difference with these oil stained rockers. Yo. Versus how clean the cylinder head is. Looks like, I mean, there's some preload, but I'm almost opening. I wonder if this screws up my push rod height, which will be a fiasco in its own. That'll suck. Well, push rods are cheap. That one's crushed. This one obviously. Yeah, it's not that bad. It seems bad. It always, to me, like in my head, I'm always like, man, this is just opening my valve, but it's not really. There's just a little bit of preload on there. Always tighten these by hand. I have done this and then left it. I think the first time I started this car, I had one loose. It always happens. Recently, Cletus did the same thing with that Vet. They thought they blew it up. I have actually pulled... I was like, it's blown up. I pulled the motor out, put it on the stand, taken the valve cover off. One of the rockers was just sideways. And I'm like, that would have been much easier to fix if I had just left it in. Luckily, it was a Fairmont. It had nothing to it, and I had it out in like 45 minutes. And I was like, oh, I guess I can tighten this rocker and put the motor right back in. Okay, we will... I'll pull the plugs out of this side. That's going to be fun. I got to do it anyway to get the exhaust and everything else done. And then we'll do a compression test on my back cylinder there and see where she's at. Okay, we'll do this one live. Let's get the busted ass WD-40 going. And get the long tube a little bit out of the way. Pardon me, sir. Well, we are going to check you before we install the long tubes. So we're going to see if compression went up in this back cylinder at all. And we're going to do it live. Can you see that? I mean, the valves are going to move. I just wish I could... Oh! That'll do it. Let's get the cinematic effect in here. Down there, please. Right there. Thank you, sir. Focus in on that, Mr. Sony. I think everything else is ready to go. One thing I noticed while I was messing around over here getting ready for the header to come off, my wires have fallen. Probably the zip tie melted, and everything is dangerously close to melting. Crank and starting wire. Okay, so let me disconnect. Can I disconnect the power to my pump? Yes. I'm pulling my water pump from my supercharger so it doesn't shoot water all over the place. Good? What are we at? Still garbage. Well, it's a good thing we didn't waste a whole lot of time messing with everything else. Wonder why it's still garbage.
I got a bad feeling.
Oh, we already got oil coming up the push rods. Well, shit. What does that mean? The motor's no good? How's it making that much power? See, some of these things don't make sense. It sounds fine, right? Let's check a front cylinder. Let's, No, wrong way. What if we check another one? What if my compression tester is funny? Could it be? I mean, my valves were shot anyway. Come on. Help me out here. Work with me. There we go. Let's check out this front one. And then I'm almost curious to like loosen up my rockers. See if the push rods are too long now. Can I stretch that? Let's just put it there. Let's just put it there for now. This one's a little super low too, so yeah, maybe something else is going on. How are they all going to be low again? Unless the bottom end is no good, obviously. That's the obvious statement. That was really low, though. That one wasn't that bad. I'm gonna make these like just tight enough. Well, they don't seem like they have any preload at all. So yeah, why is my compression tester? Is my compression tester finally dead after years of abuse? Mr. Harbor Freight, are you okay? What if I hook you up to my air compressor? And we see how high you go. Brainstorming here. I'll get back to you. Well, I gotta make sure my pressure gauge is reading because it doesn't even go back to 0. So this is a new development. Yeah, everything's 60 or 90.
Is the compression tester bad? Is the engine bad? Is the operator an idiot? Find out the answer to these questions and more in the next episode.